and 1-866-6775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries. As we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media, this is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We'll be very focused, Joe. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And as we look at our celebrations today, Gorgeous Grandma Day, okay, we like that one. National Refreshment Day, I can always go for some refreshments. And we do have the one of the day, the one and only, we are going to be celebrating today. Very simple. Here it comes. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. It is National Vanilla Ice Cream Day. Yes. Okay, so we've got vanilla ice cream on tap for today. A little Haagen-Dazs might do the trick if we're lucky enough to get some of that. Let's take a look and see what the markets are doing today as well. Dow Jones Industrial Average down 127 points. We know why that's happening. NASDAQ down 69, S&P 500 down 9, oil up 11 cents. The bond market we're looking at, the 10-year Treasury down about 1.4 basis points, 0.583 right now. So why is the market down? I think most of it can be attributed to one stock only. Probably going to be looking almost all of that coming on the heels of what's going on with Microsoft. And this is a fascinating story because you start looking and you say, what does it take to get a good earnings report? Well, we saw what happened with Tesla. They're down about 12, 13 points as I speak to you right now. Microsoft, as we record this morning, for part of our network, obviously, you're listening to this a little bit later on our new affiliate, KMET AM 1490, the ABC News and Talk affiliate. Microsoft down 5.5, $5.50 right now. Why? Well, because their cloud business, the place where you store information on the cloud, was only up 47%. The market was looking for it to be up 50%. Can you believe that, getting penalized for a company the size of Microsoft, having one of the businesses only up 47%? Simply unbelievable. That's kind of the way the markets are, though, right now. When you start getting into the valuations like this, and I shared with you yesterday what is going on in the markets and how they're really overpriced. It's a fascinating area where how far overpriced the market is right now. My opinion, I start seeing where too many companies are out there looking for what's going on, and too many companies are growing. Their stock prices are just way inflated, is my personal opinion of them. They should not be trading as high as they are. Tesla, right? Great company. I'm not saying anything negative about the company. What I am saying is that there's no logic to a company that is trading that far above or has gone up that much in such a short period of time. No logic to that in my world. So I'm going to just share with you that I think that, a stock like Tesla, and again, I don't give any kind of financial guidance. I don't give financial advice. Don't call and say, hey, Ron, you said. No, I didn't. I'm telling you that this is just my simple man's opinion, is that a stock like Tesla is ripe for a fall. Ripe for a fall. There's going to be a reason why that stock there's got to be a reason why it went from 400 to, what is it right now, about 1,400, even maybe more than that, 1,577. Why did it go so far so quick? It was 400 and change in early March. Is it a bad company? Absolutely not. I'm not even thinking that idea. It's not a bad company. My point is, what drove it to move that much that quick? Well, the comment is really nothing drove it to move that quick, right? I mean, it's didn't increase sales in the last 4 months. It didn't increase revenue in the last 4 months. It didn't come out with a new product that the world has to have in the last 4 months. None of that stuff happened, yet the stock has skyrocketed in 4 months. Now, yes, I know that a lot of stocks were at low numbers, right after the pandemic, right after the economy shut down. But does it make sense that Tesla's worth more than GM, Ford, Chrysler, Fiat, all of those combined? As a car company, I don't think so. But we'll see, because they're coming out with their innovating. That is the one big thing that we can say about Tesla. They are innovators. They are innovating. They're coming out with new stuff all the time to make people happy with what they're doing. So maybe that's what's driving it. But I'm going to suggest to you, be very, very careful when you're watching that particular stock right now. What else is going on in the market? Well, unbelievable. So, more of the Trump administration. Finally, somebody's standing up to China. Yes, the president's standing up to them. As you probably heard, they closed the consulate in Houston. That was where they were doing a lot of their intellectual property theft. But now they're talking about a biological researcher who falsely denied a role within the Chinese military to obtain a visa and gain entry into the U.S., being sheltered in the Chinese consulate in San Francisco. Court documents filed by the FBI say. Filing is part of a document that cites other cases in which Chinese nationals allegedly lied on their U.S. visa applications by hiding their military affiliations. So we've got in their consulates people doing military work. Does that make sense to anybody? Am I missing that? And I know that President Obama, Vice President Biden, they would have done the same thing if they were in power right now, right? Yeah, I don't think so.
You know better than that.
Yeah, I don't think they would have been having anything to do with that. But we do see that President Trump, the first leader to finally fight back against China. That is a whole big issue right now. So we're watching that one closely for you. China, they may not like it, but what are they going to do? Like, they might close a U.S. embassy or consulate over there, but they still want the U.S. to be buying from them. We saw what happened as President Trump put more and more sanctions on goods and services coming out of China. Their economy just cratered. Well, then they got the pandemic, and we needed to buy PPE from over there. So their economy did a little bit better. But if we start going into a more of a trade war, well, we'll see what happens. Unbelievable. It's gonna continue on. We'll see it. Hey, have you been watching the other area of the economy? Yeah, yes, we did see the jobs report come out this morning. Unemployment numbers come out this morning. We'll talk about that in the Mortgage Minute. But who's getting hit the worst right now during this pandemic time? Well, it is restaurants. As of June, some 10.6 million workers were temporarily unemployed, down from 18 million in April. And after 7.4 million jobs were added back to the economy between April and June, the decline in this data is indicative of a labor market that is healing. Are we sure? Because we're also seeing some other areas that Yelp came out and made a comment that there are a lot of these businesses that will never, ever come back. There's going to be thousands of businesses who just don't come back. There's nowhere for them to go. They can't recover. They've been closed too long. Data from Yelp shows that 55% of business closures since March 1st are permanent. Yeah, permanent. Oh! Yeah, that's not a good number. In June, Yelp's data indicated that 41% of business closures were permanent. Even as total closures fall, permanent closures increased to 72,000 businesses permanently closed out of 132,580 total closed businesses. An increase of 15,742. All those workers, they're going to be having problems. They're not going to be coming back into the job market. As of July 10th, there have been 26,160 total restaurant closures, an increase of 2,179 since June 15. Of all the closed restaurants in July, 15,770 have permanently closed, 60%, accounting for 2,956 more permanent closures, a 23% increase since June 15th. Not a good sign for the economy, but you can understand it. You get places, what's going on in California, right? How do you think these businesses are going to survive trying to put people in their parking lots, right? And if you want to make it anywhere decent to sit and eat in the parking lot, then you've got to go into a lot of expenditures. And thank goodness we haven't had in Southern California, at least I know some of you out in the Inland Empire and the Coachella Valley, you've had some pretty hot days, but it hasn't been nearly as hot as it was or as it can be at this time of year. Just throw that out there for you to consider. Portland, again, under siege. Yeah, they declared a riot now in Portland last night. The Portland mayor tear gassed by federal agents. Riot declared. A riot was declared in Portland just after midnight Thursday morning after Mayor Ted Wheeler's tense visit with protesters where he was booed, told to resign, given a list of demands, and then tear gassed by federal agents. His visit ended with his security detail engaging in a struggle with protesters. A security detail? I thought he wants to defund the police. I wonder who that security detail is made up of and who's paying for it. Earlier, he moved with protesters to the fence outside the federal courthouse, where he stood at the front and was tear gassed along with the crowd, according to the New York Times correspondent Mike Baker. Wheeler called the tear gassing an egregious overreaction. Stand there some more, get the same thing. I'm just going to throw that out there at you, let you feel that one for a change. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, we've got a great broadcast lined up for you today. We are going to chat a lot about how to get a mortgage. That's going to be the issue. 8 steps, easy steps to get a mortgage. Home sales hitting a record-setting rebound. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you, but the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1, on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Did you know that banks and credit bureaus are rewarded financially if you have bad credit? And the worse your credit score is, the more money they can make off of you? How does that make you feel, knowing that banks are getting rich off of your hard-earned money? How does it make you feel, knowing that if a bank or a credit bureau makes a mistake on your credit report, they benefit from it and it hurts you? The Fair Credit Report Act of 1971 requires banks and credit bureaus to report only accurate information, and nearly 100% of all credit reports are inaccurate. If you're sick and tired of being broke and tired of being robbed by the banks, you owe it to yourself and to your family to call Rondi. Rondi is a FICO-certified credit professional and has helped thousands of people just like you get out of debt and establish great credit. Rondi's number is 855-608-1990. Again, that's 855-608-1990. Or visit creditsanitizer.com. Again, that website is creditsanitizer.com.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694552.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next mortgage, Gold Star has the programs and the products. You just need to make the call again. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So let's take a look at what's going on in the markets today. Obviously, the big number or the big news of the day has been what is going on with that jobs market. But we're going to talk to you about that in just a second as we first start off looking at where the markets are at this precise hour. The Dow Jones down 81, NASDAQ down 78. We'll look at the, if I can get it on my screen here, we're going to look at the S&P 500 down about 8 points. The 10-year Treasury, that's the one that we watch all the time because that somewhat gives us an indication of what mortgage-backed securities are doing. So that's down 1 basis point. And as you could probably imagine, the mortgage-backed securities, they're pretty flat right now, not doing a whole heck of a lot. But the issue is the question of why is all of this happening? That's more important than those other numbers because you can find those numbers anywhere. If you're like me, you probably get several alerts every hour telling you what, no, you're probably not like me doing that. Several alerts every hour telling you what's going on. Senate reached a tentative $1 trillion deal on how to move forward with coronavirus relief. There are no specifics on the dollar amount for a stimulus check to individuals. The $600 a week federal payment for jobless Americans is set to expire at the end of July. And with no extension, it could lag until a broader consensus is reached. Additionally, there was no agreement on a payroll tax cut. Initial jobless claims for last week was released showing 1.416 million individuals who filed for unemployment benefits for the very first time. About 100,000 higher than last week's number of 1.3. Continuing claims improved significantly from 17.3 to 16.2. But are things really improving? That's the question. There are also PUA, or Pandemic Unemployment Assistance claims, that are not captured in the headlines. These are people that usually would not be approved for unemployment benefits, like gig workers, Uber drivers, or contractors. Those claims, which are separate, and in addition to the headline claims, totaled 975,000 last week. Continuing PUA claims improved slightly from 14.2 to 13.2, but are still significant. Total people receiving some type of benefit improved slightly from 32 million to 31.8 based on the total receiving benefits divided into the labor force of 160 million. There's likely a 20% unemployment rate. And if you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, or if you're watching us on any of the social channels, or KMET AM 1490, the TV broadcast, you'll see that chart right there on the screen showing continuing claims. Largest increase, you could have guessed it, comes from Calizuela, 292,000, or the largest group of new claims. And you can understand that with what the governor is doing, what the local people are doing. They're just looking at putting more and more people out of work. Is it because it's necessary? Is it because it's helpful? Or is it because they just want to make things look bad before the elections? According to Black Knight, 46% of those that are in home loan forbearance made payments in April, 22% in May, and only 15% in June. The longer the pandemic goes on, the less you'll see of people actually making payments, which will likely translate to some pressure on servicers. Mortgage bonds are moving higher for the fourth straight day. And we've seen that they've pulled back a little bit today, so we're watching that very, very closely for you. We also got a report this morning. I don't know if you saw it. Not everybody's a nerd like me watching all this data coming out. Freddie Mac came out with their number today for home loan rates. 3.01% was the Freddie Mac number. You have to pay 80 basis points, 0.8% to get that. What does that mean? Right, because we talk about that all the time, and I hear folks calling me and saying, well, my sister got a 2.5% rate. My brother got a 3.5% rate. I got a 2.875. What does all that mean? How do we decipher that data for somebody? Well, points. Let's talk a little bit about points. What are points? Are they valuable? Should you be paying them? Or are they completely taboo? And the answer is, it depends. I share with you all the time, strategy beats rate always. Strategy beats rate always. So right now, if you want that Freddie Mac 3.01% rate, and you're willing to pay the 0.8 that Freddie Mac says you have to get it. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, that's not going to be the case all the time. There are places, our friends at Gold Star in some instances, have rates where you don't have to pay the points to get that kind of a rate. You may decide you want to, but you have to understand what are points, who are they good for, and what is the value to them. So there is an option to buy down an interest rate. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to hear anything about points. Okay, well, it's basically like saying, I don't want to talk about salt and pepper, right? Some people want salt and pepper on their food. Some people don't want it. Some people put it on there just for fun. Some people say it's horrible. Is either of those groups correct? I'm going to suggest to you no, but they might both be correct. What is it? Let's explain it. Let's get to the nitty gritty. So there is a base interest rate of whatever you qualify for. There's probably 35 to 40 different qualifications that go into figuring out a mortgage rate. You're looking at debt to income and loan to value and FICO scores and type of property. Is it a condo? Is it a single family residence? Is it a PUD, condotel, mobile home, manufactured home? All these different things go into it. There's a lot of characteristics. And you look at the loan to value, and you look at the debt to income ratios, and you look at, is it a purchase? Is it a refi? Is it a cash out refi? Is it an investment? There's a lot of them, right? But let's just say we're going to use that 3.01 from Freddie Mac. So what they're in essence saying is if you want that 3.01% interest, you have to pay 0.8 of a point. Not a problem. Now, if you're planning on staying in the property a very short period of time, it may not be of any value to you to pay that 0.8%. You might say, hey, Mr. Lender, what would it cost me? What would my interest rate be if I don't pay that 0.8%? And they might come back, and I'm just throwing numbers out there. I have no idea what they would be, right? So I'm going to come out there and say, if you do not pay that 0.8, hypothetically, maybe you're going to have an interest rate of 3.375. Now, you have to look and say, what translate those things into real dollars before you go too far. So if you look at a $300,000 loan and you look at 8/10 to get it, on a $300,000 loan, you're looking at $2,400. Now, on a $300,000 loan, you're probably going to be looking at, for a 3/8, you're probably going to be looking at somewhere around, I don't know, $50, $60 a month is going to be the payment difference. So let's just use $60. So if you take $2,400 divided by 60, you're looking at a 40-month break even. Let's break that down because I am a simple person. So what that means is if you stay in your home for less than 40 months, or if you keep this loan for less than 40 months, you should not have paid the points. You should have gone with a higher interest rate. And I know it sounds counterintuitive because everybody's looking at it and saying, and all they look at is headlines. What's the rate? 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 And you hear commercials throwing out these things. The rate is you can get a whatever loan today for this rate, right? But the strategy is more important. If you're paying mortgage insurance and you anticipate that you're going to be able to get rid of that mortgage insurance in less than 40 months, what you want to be doing is saying, okay, what kind of a loan is it? Right? If it's a conventional loan, well, then you might be able to just get it revalued and you're fine. But what if it's an FHA loan that the mortgage insurance stays on there for the life of the loan? Well, then you're not going to be in such good shape. You should have taken and gone another direction. What if you know that you're going to be looking to be moving or getting a bigger house in the next 3 years? You bought this property for a specific strategy. You just didn't want to pay rent anymore, and you knew 3 years from now you're going to be getting a divorce settlement, an estate or a payout, win the lottery, whatever it might be, right? And you're going to be buying a bigger house in the next 3.5 years. Well, you don't want to be paying those points for it then. Now, on the other hand, I have had individuals call and say, hey, Ron, I'm looking at being in my property for the next 10 years. I'm going to retire in 10 years. I'm going to stay here for 10 years. What I want to do is I want to know how I can get a 2.5% interest rate. Okay, so now it might be that it makes sense to pay, maybe it's going to cost 1.5 points to get that rate. And I'm just throwing numbers out there. Don't hold me to the numbers because I'm just giving you examples for education purposes. I'm not giving any kind of rate quotes here, but I want you to understand how points work. So you say, okay, I want that 2.5% rate. I'm going to pay the 1.5 points. That's going to cost me $4,500 on that $300,000 loan. I get it. My break even is going to be at 3 years, 4 years, whatever the number might be, because depending upon your situation, figure it out. You should have an advisor that's helping you with that. It's not that difficult to do once you know what you're doing, right? So the whole idea becomes understanding the strategy, because points are not bad. I'll say that again. Points are not bad. It depends on how you use them and if they fit in your overall strategy. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to chat a little bit, maybe a lot of bit. Home sales hit a record-setting rebound, and we're going to talk about some strategies, how to get a mortgage. We'll talk to you about all that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender, licensed under NMLS number 217037.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990 or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Homeowners that are 62 and older are about to find out a great way to live a better retirement. It's called a reverse mortgage, and SLT can help you learn more. Call the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990 right now to receive your free booklet with no obligation. It answers questions like how a reverse mortgage works, how much you qualify for, the ways to receive your money, and more. When you call the experts at Siegel Lending Team today, you'll learn the benefits of a government-insured reverse mortgage, how it will eliminate your monthly mortgage payments, and give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. Here's the best part. You still own your home. Now is the best time to take control of your retirement. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 to get your free brochure. Call today or visit our website at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com or simply call 800-306-1990.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. In the real-time real estate segment today, being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text SLT Home Digest, SLT Home Digest, to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. The digest will actually show you exactly what the county recorder knows about your property. It'll actually show you exactly what the market believes about your property. Home sales hit a record-setting rebound. With a worldwide health crisis that drove a pause in the economy this year, the housing market was greatly impacted. And I'm going to show you some charts here if I can get my screens to work. Many have been eagerly awaiting some bright signs of a recovery based on the latest existing home sales report from the National Association of Realtors, NAR. June hit a much anticipated record-setting rebound to ignite that spark. According to the National Association of Realtors, home sales jumped 20.7% from May to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 4.72 million in June. Existing home sales rebounded at a record pace in June, showing strong signs of a market turnaround after 3 straight months of sales declines caused by the ongoing pandemic. Each of the 4 major regions achieved month-over-month growth, and you can see some of those numbers in the chart that we're showing to you right now. The significant rebound is a major boost for the housing market and the U.S. economy. According to Lawrence Yoon, chief economist for NAR, the momentum has the potential to continue on as well. Quote, the sales recovery is strong as buyers were eager to purchase homes and properties that had been eyeing during the shutdown. This revelation looks to be sustainable for many months ahead as long as mortgage rates remain low and job gains continue. With mortgage rates hitting an all-time low, dropping below 3% for the first time last week. Now, obviously, we talked about it, 3.01. Potential home buyers are poised to continue taking advantage of this historic opportunity to buy. This fierce competition amongst buyers is contributing to home price increases as well, as more buyers are finding themselves in bidding wars in this environment. The report also notes, quote, the median existing home price for all housing types in June was $295,300. That's a national number, up 3.5% from June 2019 of $285,400. As prices rose in every region, June's national price increase marks 100 straight months of year-over-year gain. So we're going to show you now is how home prices increased by region, powered by low interest rates, pent-up demand, and a decline in inventory in the markets. We've got everyone on, if you're looking at the chart. If you didn't get the chart, or if you're listening to us on one of the radio stations that we broadcast on, make sure you check in at Ron Siegel Radio on social media, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, or you can look at the Siegel Lending Team or any of our other socials, and you'll see these things. Lawrence Yoon also indicates home prices rose during the lockdown and could rise even further due to heavy buyer competition and a significant shortage of homes for sale. The bottom line, buyers returning to the market is a great sign for the economy, as housing is still leading the way toward a recovery. If you're ready to buy a home, let's get together and chat about it and see what we can do about getting you on a game plan. I've shared with people, other than in the case of individuals who are fraudulent, which we do not deal with them at all, other than in that situation, we really don't turn people down for a loan at the Siegel Lending Team. Our goal is, if you want to buy a home, we want to help. And maybe there are people that are not able to get into a home that they want right now. It might be that we need to set up a game plan for you to get into your home. We may need to be talking to a credit repair expert to help strategize to get your credit scores increased. We might have to talk to one of the attorneys we work with to help in other areas of the strategy. But for the most part, there is a strategy to be had to help people get into a home if that is their goal, if they're willing to do what it takes. And obviously, again, we don't do anything illegal. We will just give you a game plan that's worked for many, many people. What's the first step, though, in that game plan? I should tell you that was the Real-Time Real Estate segment, brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text SLT Home Digest to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. So the first step in getting a new home in every situation, unless you've got a boatload of money in the bank, is getting approved for a mortgage. Getting totally approved, underwritten, and the whole works. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or looking to move into a different house, chances are you're going to need a mortgage. But how do you go about getting the best rate? How do you get the best rate you qualify for? A house is likely the biggest purchase you're going to make in your lifetime. Finding the best terms, the best strategy could save you tens of thousands of dollars or more over the life of your loan. So we're going to chat about how to do it. We're going to chat about 8 steps here. Get your credit in shape, and we're going to dive into each one of these. Now, we'll just start right off. I won't even give you the whole list. Number 1, get your credit in shape before you apply for a mortgage. Make sure your credit is in good shape. The better your credit score, the better the interest rate you'll qualify for. You should aim for a credit score of 740 or higher, although you do not need one that's that high. There are multiple ways to get your credit scores and credit reports for free. You'll want to check both, because if there's an issue with your credit score, your credit report will give you an indication of what that is. You want to also make sure you get reports from all 3 major credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Be wary of using free credit report services like Credit Karma for this. They tend to use a Vantage score. I call that a FACO score, which will not provide the actual FICO credit score lenders are going to use. Instead, check with your bank or credit card provider and see if they offer a FICO score, not a credit score. You also need to look at lenders are going to usually pull reports from all 3 of the bureaus, so you could have a score lower than 740 and still get the best rate as long as your middle score is that high. So if you notice, I told you, you're going to have three different scores: Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Lenders do not average those. They just look and say which one is in the middle. And it could be that you've got two 740s and a 735, so 740 is going to be that. But if you have a 740, a 720, and a 680, 720 wins. Okay, so you need to understand that. I like to use, even though it's a paid service, I like to use myfico.com, myfico.com. What do you do if your credit score is not high enough? If you discover that your credit score is not where you'd like it to be, you may want to delay your purchase. On the other hand, you may make that purchase if you find the right property at the right time. Again, strategy. And then you can always restructure down the road if it makes sense for you, because you're getting in the game and you're starting that appreciation process sooner. There are some sneaky ways to improve your credit score, so we can always chat about those. There are some that, and again, we're not doing anything underhanded or illegal. You just need to understand how the system works and make it work for you. There's also the possibility you'll find an error on your credit report that's dragging your scores down. If that happens, it's possible to have it corrected. There are people that'll do that, or you can do it yourself. We're going to talk more. That just got us to number 1 on how to get a mortgage in 8 steps. We've got 7 more to go. So don't go away. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back again, the other 7 steps on how to get a mortgage. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Most businesses struggle to get the online reviews they need to get a competitive edge over their competition. Rex is a brand new technology that uses text messages to direct happy clients to your online review sites, Zillow, Google, Facebook, and Yelp, and unhappy clients to a private survey, so businesses can win more customers. Try Rex today by going to www.meetrex.com.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call the Ron Siegel Team at 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation real estate plan. You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to reap@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
Rate subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRENMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 01869452 and 1866775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report? It is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has the solutions for you. We're going to continue our conversation this morning on 8 easy for me to say, 8 steps to get a mortgage, how to get a mortgage in 8 steps. We did number 1. That was basically understanding your credit score, making sure it is in shape. Again, myfico.com. If you need some assistance with getting that in shape, Credit Sanitizer, our friend Jeff Sipes over at Blue Water Credit, they do a great job of helping the listeners of Ron Siegel Radio. Number 2, get pre-approved for a mortgage. Once you feel like your credit is in good spot, it's time to start the process of getting a mortgage. You can find out how much money you qualify to borrow by applying for a mortgage pre-approval. This will also give you a sense of how much your monthly payments will be. How much a lender is willing to lend you will depend on things like your credit score and debt-to-income ratio. Pre-approval is not an actual mortgage application, which is tied to a specific property, but it will require a credit check. The lenders have to go in and do what they call a hard credit check on your scenario, and one lender cannot use the credit report of another lender. Pretty basic. Why you need to get pre-approved? Pre-approval is a key to the home buying process, according to most professionals. Many realtors will not even take you out, especially during the pandemic, without a strong pre-approval letter. Mortgage pre-approval is typically required by realtors as they want to ensure that you're going to have the financing in order and be prepared to offer as soon as you find a home. Typically, they and the seller's agent will want to see a pre-approval letter from a lender submitted with your offer. If the lender and or loan officer has a good reputation in your local market, it can also help increase your chances of going under contract, since there will be greater trust in your pre-approval. And many instances, in the instance of our team, we're actually going to show right on there, what is your credit score? What are you approved for? And if the time permits, we might even be able to get out there and get a quick video made showing, discussing your scenario and the diligence that's been done in introducing ourselves, the team, to the sellers. Note that you are not locked into getting your loan from the lender that pre-approves you. You're still free to shop around and get the best rate, although I suggest best strategy. We'll talk about that a little bit later. It's not so much what the credit application will do to your credit score, though that is a concern. It's more that it harms your debt-to-income ratio, which could put you in a riskier lending category. Your mortgage application could be denied, or you could find yourself pushed into a higher rate. So don't go applying for, and that's basically if you go and apply for a credit card during the process. Do not go get a credit card. Don't go buy a new set of furniture. Don't get a new car during the pre-approval process. As a general rule, use a mortgage banker or mortgage broker. Don't go to a brick and mortar. If you can walk in, it is probably not the best place for you. And I'm saying that about the banks, the big banks, credit unions. Those are not your best option. And I'll tell you why. It's not because, full disclosure, yes, our biggest sponsor is a mortgage banker. But why do I say that? Don't go to the brick and mortar bank or credit union, because they only have their product to offer. If you go into the Stagecoach, they're not going to tell you what the American Flag Group is going to offer, right? Or they're not going to tell you what the Blue Company is doing, right? And I'm not mentioning any names. I'm just telling you, all fine companies. And there are many mortgage brokers, mortgage bankers who will go to the wholesale window of those same places and sell the loans to them, but they're buying the rates at wholesale as opposed to at retail. So I'm going to say that don't go to some of those places like that. I'm also going to recommend that, something the online guys are not going to be helping with strategy. They're good at what they do also. Walmart is a great company. Sometimes you just want Saks Fifth Avenue. And I don't even know if they're still in business, but that's just an opinion there. You should go wherever you feel most comfortable for your pre-approval. Again, as we said, you're under no obligation to get your mortgage from that lender if you find a better strategy elsewhere. Number 3, figure out how much house you can afford. Just because you can borrow a certain amount of money does not mean you should. There are several other factors that come into play when determining what price range you should be considering. Chances are you'll be pre-approved for a higher amount than you would probably make sense for you financially. It's up to you to calculate what that translates to as part of your budget. My thinking on how to figure out how much house you can afford really has evolved over the years. I used to recommend that you start by seeing what you qualify for in a 30-year fixed rate loan and then back off and shop for houses that cost 90% of that amount or less. But right now, you got to be real careful because it is a tough market out there. Number 4, pick the right type of mortgage. Once you know how much money you're able to borrow, you'll need to decide what kind of loan is right for you. Do you want a 30-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage? Do you prefer a fixed rate for the life of the loan or one that adjusts with economic conditions? Do you need a conventional loan or will you be borrowing a lot of money and require a jumbo mortgage? You'll need to answer all these questions and more in consultation with the mortgage professional that you're dealing with. There are also FHA loans and VA loans to consider. If you're a veteran, that VA loan is a great loan for you to consider. Credit-challenged borrowers may opt for an FHA loan, which is a government-backed loan that can still provide good rates but does come with additional mortgage insurance requirements. For those that qualify, a VA loan provides exceptional rates and even offers a zero-down option. Thankfully, you should not have to deal with all this on your own. Again, consultation with a mortgage professional will help you. That's why I say all the time, avoid the onliners because that's not what they do. They're out there. They do good work, but may not be your best strategy. Shop for the best rates you qualify for. Don't shop for the best rates that your neighbor and uncle and brother and neighbor and cousin got. They don't have the same profile as you. Every credit profile is unique. So take a look. That's why I say if you're working with a mortgage banker or broker, they work as your personal shopper. They're understanding all of those different issues. Understand what are the origination fees? What are the credit report fees, appraisal fees, other applicable fees charged by the lenders? Points are another kind of fee. We talked about that a little bit earlier. A point represents 1% of the total amount of the money borrowed. There are origination points. This is a fee the lenders charge. There are discount points. Those are fees to get the loan. Neither one is bad. There are always going to be both. Well, I guess you're not going to always have discount points, but you always have origination. It's either hidden in the rate or it's shown up front, one or the other. Just the way it is. So some of the online gurus say never pay points to buy down your interest rate. Just to me, that's anytime you say never, it means you're not taking into consideration what the needs are of the community. Gather your documents and apply for the loan. Once you've identified the most favorable loan for you and a property that you want to make an offer on, submit your formal application. What you'll need to provide will depend on particular situation, and the lender's company requirements will typically include a loan application, W-2s, pay stubs, income tax returns, alimony or child support documents, bank and investment account statements, a gift letter if you're using gifted money for a down payment, credit explanation letters if there are derogatory marks. How do you submit all these documents? Well, generally, your lenders are going to have a secure portal is going to be a way for you to get into understanding those issues. Locking in an interest rate. You do not have any rate at all until you are locked in. You can have a 15-day lock, a 30-day, 45, 60-day lock. There are some companies that even go in between those. But understand, until you get a document that says to you that you're locked, your interest rate can and will change on a regular basis. So just make sure that you understand the lock strategy that you're wanting to deal with. Prepare for some back and forth after you've submitted the application. You're going to get documents and more requests. And then after you go through all this, once you're approved for the mortgage, your offer is accepted, It's time to close on your home loan. You're going to have to wait 3 days from the day you get your closing disclosure, your CD. That's so you can actually read all the documentation that's there. And it's going to go through. And again, it's just a waiting period. So be cognizant of that period as well. And as always, we suggest to you, well, I guess we got a couple seconds here, so I can go a little further into that one for you. The CD, it's a waiting period. You should be able to go over that with your lender and discuss about what that is, what it means, how it's going to affect you. Because you want to always understand precisely what you're getting into. The CD can change after you've got it, but you do have to have that 3-day waiting period from the initial time you get it and sign it. So even though you may not be comfortable with everything, sign it when you get it, and you can still make changes after that. As always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to John and Sean for engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or comments, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
Tides that I tried to swim